Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and I've got a Felix somewhere around here. Where is he? There he is! Hello,
Yay!
Felix! Now, a lot of people have been very confused, and understandably so, about how backwards compatibility works with the Nintendo Switch 2. Because obviously, you got all the old Switch games, you want to be able to play them on your Switch 2, 100%. And there are certain games that can be upgraded, some have free updates, some you have to pay for them. So we're here to clear things up a little bit and also talk a little bit about the technical side of things. So, there are a few different categories that we've already talked about. We have the games that will have paid upgrades. We've all heard of them, haven't we, Felix?
Yes, we have. We have, for example, the new Zelda games, which are getting a substantial upgrade for a little price of $10.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a little bit different. Some games include new content, some games just have a better frame boost, and then we have it's all very confused. I'm one of the persons that just I'm confused, and that's why it's really nice to have you here, Alex.
Oh, get away with you. But yeah, paid upgrades. There are also, as you say, some more substantial ones like Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which include DLC as well, which is even tastier, to say the least. But it is highly suspected that they will cost more money. However, there are also other categories, games that will just get free updates. And it's like, oh, okay, so, it's just, we don't really know what it's going to be. Presumably, it's going to be things like increased resolution, increased frame rate, increased performance. Just, Nintendo are dishing out this free update to make sure that it has 100% compatibility with your lovely Nintendo Switch 2 console. But there's another area, and this is the area of real contention that I feel. And that is games that will not be having an immediate upgrade, but just, you just run them on your Switch 2. And Nintendo have revealed sort of how they're going about it. It's not 100% clear, but they do say that they're going through every single game on the Switch.
Yes,
individually
every
and checking
single
them.
game. Over 10,000 games they have to sit. And we're talking everything. We're talking AAA clock. We're talking things we can't talk about on this channel. It's great.
Yeah, which is frankly a huge undertaking. And that's not how Nintendo has done backwards compatibility in the past. In the past, what they've done is that they, for example, like in the Wii, it essentially has GameCube hardware in there. I mean, the Wii is also kind of just a souped-up GameCube, but it has the hardware there. So it's not doing any emulation. It's not, sort of trying to run it on different architecture or different process or anything like that. It is just running it natively, And that's the same with things like the Game Boy Advance has basically just a Game Boy in there. It's got the hardware, so it can just run it, no problem. Doesn't have to do anything special. That's not the case here. Nintendo have confirmed, using an article that we will link in the description below, it's the Ask the Developer Volume 16, that there is no Switch 1 hardware in Switch 2. And that's not surprising.
No, we have no Switch 1. So Alex, how on earth are you going to you're just going to be able to pop in your Switch 1 games and they're going to run? How do they do it? Is it emulation? What is it?
Well, they have actually stated in here that it is not emulation, which is good. Because, emulation is very, very intensive on CPUs, GPUs, and things like that. It's really heavy stuff. For a long time, sort of going back into the early days, the idea that you could emulate, even say an N64 on a current PC at the time is just not viable. I mean, a lot of N64 games don't emulate nowadays because the architecture's really weird. But suffice it to say, it's by no means a perfect solution, and you're going to run into all sorts of problems, and it's just not worth it. It's not working. I don't know if that's the mentality that Nintendo had, per se, but that's the reality of it. So instead, what I think is likely, we don't have this confirmed. I want to make that clear, but what I think is likely is that we are working with either just trying to run it natively, which might work, I don't know what the architecture's like, or there's a compatibility layer. Now, this is something that is realistically probably not new technology, but we are seeing it a lot more and more these days with things like, especially like the Steam Deck. That runs on Linux, as you know, Felix.
But of course I know. I am the one and all-knowing Steam Deck connoisseur.
Well, it runs on Linux. but it also runs Windows games. And that's not because Linux is great and it can run everything. I mean, it sort of can, but it also sometimes to set things up, you're like, oh, what do you mean? You need to install your Ethernet adapter. I'm not going to go into it. Linux is great, but it comes with a lot of caveats. The way that it works is it uses a compatibility layer. And to really like ultra simplify this, and this is massive simplification. But imagine if you've just got something reading all the code that's coming through a little corridor that needs to run, and at some point it sees something and it goes, Linux can't run that. I'm going to have to change it. And so it changes it to something that Linux can run, and then it sends it through, and Linux is none the wiser. And that actually works surprisingly well.
In
Mac
real
OS,
time, then?
Yeah, in real time. And again, that's a massive oversimplification. I don't sort of write a thesis on it based on that or anything like that. But we see also in things like Mac OS. Mac semi-recently changed to using its own proprietary processors called Apple Silicon. And you've got to rewrite everything so that it'll work on Apple Silicon. But that's not practical for everything, so actually there is a sort of a compatibility layer in there that you can enable called Rosetta. And in fact, it's not even that you enable, it happens in the background. Most users probably won't even know it's happening in order to run Intel-based programs. So it really is common, and I think that is a high possibility for what we're seeing with Nintendo Switch 2.
So, yeah, this whole method, it makes it, Nintendo has publicized a little, we'll also link that down in the description, but it's basically like how many games are compatible with this, and almost all games are, but there are also a fair bit where it has startup issues, or sometimes it just doesn't run at all. I'm showing here a screenshot that shows a graph. This was, it was back in April 1st, this dates back to, and there's a big list. You can go in there, and there's games like Pizza Tower has some issues for some reason. Like, it's really random
it won't start up.
games. Yeah.
So it's not even like a minor issue. It's just issues with startups.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
So that is why they're going through each of all the 10,000 games that there is, and just, okay, is there an issue? And maybe an issue happens far into a game, you know? Yeah,
this is, I mean, as much as anything, I think this is really upfront of Nintendo. Like, I'm not saying, wow, look at all the, all that they're going, all the work they've put in. I'm saying that this is unusual for Nintendo to be this upfront. They would usually just either lock it down or something like that, but they're like, no. We've got this whole Switch 1 library. We're bringing it over, and this has got to be a huge undertaking for them. There is only one game that they have listed here that says it cannot be played on Nintendo Switch 2, and that is Nintendo Labo Toy-Con VR kit. It's just because it physically won't fit in the cardboard. Yeah. There's the cardboard! The cardboard!
It's really nice to see, though, that you can still connect your original Joy-Con to play, Ring Fit or Everybody 1 2 Switch. I'm so happy to see that. Now, WarioWare Move It, you need the original Joy-Con because it has features that the new Joy-Con just simply won't. But you'll still be able to play them if you just connect them, which is actually really nice. I don't need to go out and buy a whole bunch of new Joy-Con. I still will.
It's a lovely feeling, isn't it? It's the same with the Pro Controller as well. Switch 1 Pro Controllers just work with Switch 2. In case you didn't know that, that's a little freebie for you.
I'm excited to when the console comes out, or when we just learn more about how exactly it works. Already here, I thought it was very interesting to just sit and listen to you talk about, okay, how does this work? Because personally, it's just like, I think the normal person don't really think that much about like, oh, this old game works on a new console like the Xbox Series X can play all backwards. Like, you can put in a 360 game, it just works.
Some. There's a specific list of games that are supported.
Okay. But still, I put in Red Dead Redemption 2, it works, and I don't really think much about it. I don't think about the technical capabilities, like, how is this even possible? It's, you put it in, it works, that's nice. But a lot goes into it, it seems. So.
I mean, to be honest, it's very easy to rag on Windows, and you should as well, because, Windows updates. Hey. There is stuff on like really, really old software like Windows 95 and Windows 98 that still works, like even on Windows 11, due to these sort of compatibility modes and all this sort of stuff. And this is not just because, they just slap it on and let's hope it works. This is a lot of hard work from a lot of very talented developers. I say talented, very skilled developers. I'm not big on the word talent to refer to skill.
Yeah, I've heard you say that.
We've discussed this before, yeah. It's like, no. Talent suggests you were born with it, and maybe you got a predisposition, but skill, you work hard. I'm not talented at presenting and stuff like that. I worked hard to be this good. Look at my old videos. You can see what I used to be like.
But no, I woke up and I just knew how to code. I'm just built different. I have no idea how to code.
You yearned for the code as a child, yeah. But for example, it takes a bit of finagling, I'm not going to lie, and things like virtual machines and things like that, but I can run virtual reality CAD on a modern Windows 11 computer, and this is the same basic idea. And this does come with a lovely bonus as well. Nintendo do go into details in the original article we mentioned, the Ask the Developer Volume 16, where they state that because of the advanced, the greater power, more RAM and things like that, more resources available, certain games just run better. They're more consistent. They, sort of don't stutter. They don't run into the same issues that they did before. But that also comes with the issues that we've seen. Sometimes games get too much RAM. And they're not designed to cope with it, and they're like, "Oh my god, what am I going to do with all this?" And they just panic and quit, or they don't even launch. It's a balancing act, and it's really exciting that they're taking this approach, because this is very much more of a sort of a PC-like approach in many ways. It's definitely very different for Nintendo, and some people would be like, "Oh no, all the magic's gone," but sometimes magic is in the eye of the beholder.
I think it's really nice they're looking so much into it and that they're putting so much effort into backwards compatibility, because if they hadn't, that's it. I think a lot of people would just not buy the next console. I think it's really, really smart of them to do this. And I think it's really, really smart of you all to click that subscribe button, because that would just be so lovely. Yeah,
if you can't find it, make sure you enable the Nintendo Life compatibility layer to allow you to subscribe. It's delightful.
Yes.
And be sure to check out nintendolife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.
It's not easy. Oh, for God's sake, stop! Stop! I knew I should have put it on Do Not Disturb.
Oh.
There's an outtake for you.